Coming up tonight, Senior Research Fellow at the Legon Center for International Affairs and Diplomacy calls for African unity to fully reap benefits of the continent's vast natural resources.
Western Regional Minister Joseph Nelson directs Ghana Water Company Limited to quickly demarcate the Daboase treatment plants, buffer zones, and halt illegal activities within them.
Chiefs and residents call for completion of abandoned 60-bed capacity Salaga Hospital in the Savannah region.
And later, more Ghanaians now taking on multiple jobs to make ends meet. We'll bring you the story of one man who's juggling two jobs.
Much later in international news, Ukraine's President Vladimir Zelensky says America's silence after recent Russian attacks is encouraging President Vladimir Putin. Welcome to the program. We're live also on all our social media platforms at TV3 Ghana. Please do well to like our page, leave a comment. We'll be glad to share them with the rest of the world. Let's get to know the details of the stories tonight.
It's been over 6 months since the official opening of the 97.7-kilometer Tema-Mpakadan railway line, but the much-anticipated service remains inactive, leaving commuters disappointed and raising questions about the future of rail transport in Ghana. The acting chief executive officer of the Ghana Railway Development Authority, Dr. Frederick Apo, tells my colleague Joseph Armstrong that full commercial operations will begin in August this year.
The standard gauge railway, inaugurated with fanfare by former President Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo on November 22, 2024, was seen as a major step in revitalizing Ghana's rail network. Constructed at a cost of $447 million with financing from the India Export-Import Bank, the line was designed to improve passenger and cargo transport along the Eastern Corridor. It features newly constructed stations at Adome, Pong, Doyumu Jokpanya Kodiabe, Shai Hills, Afienya, Ashaiman, Tema Industrial Area and Tema Port, plus a 300-meter rail bridge over the Volta River near Senchi. The line is also part of the Ghana-Burkina Faso interconnectivity project, aiming to link Tema Port to the inland port at Mpakadan with hopes of improving trade routes to northern Ghana and landlocked countries like Burkina Faso and Niger. Speaking with TV3, the acting chief executive officer of the Ghana Railway Development Authority, Dr. Frederick Apo, said the start of commercial operations had been held back by repeated incidents of theft and vandalism. According to him, about 75% of the damage has so far been repaired as part of a mitigation effort being led by the Ghana Investment Fund for Electronic Communications.
We as an authority encountered the severity of the thefts in terms of the signal boxes being taken, metal scraps for the boat and not scrap dealers have just vandalized most of the aspect of the railway network. Since then, the authority have taken the pragmatic approach to replace most of these things. We are about 80% complete. With the exception a couple of weeks ago, we also had a fiber optic cable stolen, which was up to about 1 kilometer of it taken off. I'm very optimistic that we should replace that by Monday. We should be done.
According to him, the GRDA is developing what he described as an open access model for the Tema-Mpakadan line, which will involve setting out track access charges and operational guidelines to attract private operators, adding full commercial operations could begin in August this year.
I'm confident that 6 to 8 weeks we should be there. What we need to do is to make sure that the rectification works that we are doing in terms of works by the GRDA are complete. Tema-Mpakadan can run today, but the question we have to ask ourselves is, if you run a train today, is it safe to do so? And it's important as an authority to make sure that before we do so, we have put everything in place. We are providing security along the route to prevent people encroaching the right of way.
Until then, commuters and businesses along the Eastern Corridor will have to wait a little longer for the reliable rail service they were promised.
Well, these days, one job is just not enough, and many Ghanaians are turning side hustles into survival opportunities. Well, this day, surviving on a single income, it feels like trying to solve a puzzle with missing pieces. It is therefore no surprise that many Ghanaians are taking on more than one job just to make ends meet. For those who have 9-to-5 jobs, a passion project or side hustle has become more than a trend. It is now the new normal. Ayisha Yakubu brings us the story of one man who has not just been juggling 2 jobs, but thriving at it.
From ride-hailing and baking to tutoring and delivery services, side hustles have evolved. They are no longer just something people do on the side. For some Ghanaians, they are a lifeline and sometimes the spark that ignites a bigger dream.
With this economy and whatever is going on in the world, a side hustle is good. Even if you are in your preferred job, I think you would need a side hustle for more money.
Everybody needs extra cash, yeah. So if I get it, I'll be happy, yeah, because it will bring me some more and to solve some of my problems.
I would also like a side hustle because I want to be able to afford the kind of lifestyle I want, to be able to take care of myself and then of course my family and loved ones.
But it takes real drive to balance both worlds. Daniel Sylvester Owusu is a 34-year-old who wears more than one hat and quite literally designs them too. By day, he is an accountant officer crunching numbers. By night, he transformed into a fashionpreneur, running a fast-growing clothing line.
I am able to manage it in such a way that it is like it is my life. If I'm at the shop, I'm at the shop, full 100%. If I'm at work, and my people tell you, I think I make it a part of my life. And since it's part of my life, I don't feel like I'm leaving others or some part of my life behind. No, like have time for my family, have time for my friends, have time to chill. I do everything.
He has been juggling spreadsheets and stitch work for over 11 years. While his day job offers stability, his fashion business fuels his creativity and gives his pockets a little extra lining.
With time, if I have to actually concentrate on this, or if more opportunities come and then I have to go into this, yeah, that's basically the reason why it's a side hustle. These are, let me say, luxurious things. People traveling, they buy them, they kind of take it outside of the country. Yeah, so sometimes it's a bit low. Sometimes it comes in bulk. If people can buy 10, 20, yeah, it depends. You're not going to get the money every time. Yes, but just know when it comes, it comes.
And he's not alone. Experts say side hustles are not just a trend. They are a shift, a response to an economy where one job often is not enough, and a generation of workers redefining what it means to earn a living.
It's a very common phenomenon in Ghana for many years now, but it's legalized. It's my prayer that in Ghana we'll begin to be a lot more proactive in ensuring that we give assigned rules that workers play at the workplace more clearly to them and very specific with timelines for delivery. And also we must make room for people who want to do part-time work elsewhere to do.
But the hustle is not without hurdles. Some employers frown on side gigs, and not all stories have smooth endings.
Ensure that your side work do not overly interfere with the work of the original company you work in. And even it is well documented in some companies that you can't use company's time or company's resources to do ABCD. It is counted as one of the offenses, and the employer can take action against you and recoup whatever losses they think they have encountered.
Of course, it is not all rosy. Running 2 demanding gigs means less downtime, less sleep, and the constant risk of burnout. But for many, like Sylvester, the bigger risk is doing nothing, watching dreams fade away while waiting for the perfect opportunity. For some, the side hustle might just be a stepping stone. For others, it is the dream quietly gaining ground until it finally takes center stage. Ayisha, Yakubu Khalid, TV3 News, Accra.
That was a nice report there, Ayisha. Back in the day, one job can take you through the entire month, but nowadays it barely takes you through the week.
Definitely, nowadays you need something on the side. If you want to survive, you definitely do.
It's essential. Let's do other stories.
Moving on, government's plans to legalize and regulate tricycle operators have been lauded by both riders and patrons. However, the growing indiscipline and frequent disregard for traffic rules by many riders remain a major concern. The public want authorities to address these issues before formalizing the legalization.
Under Ghana's 2012 road traffic regulations, LI 2180, the use of motorcycles and tricycles for commercial passenger services remain prohibited. Yet in recent years, tricycles have transformed public transportation in many parts of the country, providing affordable and convenient mobility for commuters. Despite their illegal status, the tricycle business has become a major source of employment for many young people in Kumasi and beyond. President John Dramani Mahama, in his first State of the Nation's address, hinted of plans to amend the regulations to legalize commercial tricycles and motorcycle operations. Ahead of the potential legalization, tricycle operator associations have stepped up engagement with their members to promote compliance and proper conduct.
About the need to get license and also the need to be part of the bigger union so that it will become easier for the government to regulate our activities. It can also help us to be able to track those who will be recalcitrant among us and would like to use the tricycles for bad intentions. The government is very committed to doing that, and we are also going to give the assurance that we will not disappoint the government. We are more than prepared to embrace this legalization.
The engagement comes amid growing public concern over rider misconduct and frequent violation of traffic regulations.
We have underage among tricycle riders, which is not good or it's not appropriate for underage to ride. And we also have a certain age that you are supposed to reach before you can operate as a commercial rider, which is 21.
The National Road Safety Authority is actively supporting the initiative. The authority is urging riders to adopt safer practices.
Of course, the challenge that we have had with tricycles over the years is something that we are all looking at to holistically put those chaos that we used to see behind us. Our message has been that if you must ride, ride safely. Always obey traffic regulations. Make sure you are not riding on the shoulder of the road. The middle of the road is not meant for tricycles, pagia, motorcycle, and the rest.
The campaign aims to instill discipline among riders while paving the way for formalized regulations in the sector.
Away from that, a senior research fellow at the Legon Center for International Affairs and Diplomacy, University of Ghana, Dr. Daniel Dramani, is calling for unity if Africa is to reap the benefits of its vast natural resources. His comments follow calls by President John Dramani Mahama for a collective effort by Africans to ensure the realization of the continent's full potential.
The African Union, AU, has designated 2025 as the year of justice for Africans and people of African descent through reparations. President John Dramani Mahama has reaffirmed his commitment to securing justice for Africans and people of African descent through reparations.
We seek justice justice that encompasses a comprehensive range of measures, including official and unequivocal apologies from the nations and institutions responsible for perpetrating these historical injustices, addressing the crippling debt burden that continues to stifle economic growth in many African nations, a direct consequence of exploitation and unfair trade practices, providing resources and expertise to empower African nations to achieve sustainable development and participate fully in the global economy, returning stolen artifacts and cultural treasures that rightfully belong to our heritage.
For Dr. Daniel Dramani Kipo-Sunyezi, a senior research fellow at the Legon Center for International Affairs and Diplomacy at the University of Ghana, the only way forward is for Africa to unite despite the language barriers.
And as a continent, we have to take our own destiny in our own hands. Path and the path of what? Unity, not divided by language, good governance, tap into our resources. Ali Mazure said in Africa, the richest in terms of resources, but poorest. We need to tap into our resources, pick up our trade barriers, and that is the way forward for us.
Dr. Kipo-Suyenzi further emphasized the need for action to promote the continent's industrialization in order to move away from reliance on the export of raw materials.
As Africans, we have set our own agenda, which is an African Agenda 2063, a continent that we have our own aspirations. And we need to come together to make sure that every member state of the African Union work towards this aspiration. And we will soon have a continent that will not only be specialized in raw material, but we also take the path of industrialization like the Asian giant. That is where African leaders are calling.
And now the Western Regional Minister Joseph Nelson has directed the Ghana Water Company Limited to quickly demarcate the Daboase treatment plant buffer zones and halt illegal activities within them. This, he believes, can help protect the 70 million euros water expansion project, which will supply 22 million gallons of water per day to Sekondi Takoradi and surrounding communities from encroachment. Irama Smith has more.
The Daboase and Intraban water treatment plants, which serve Sekondi, Takoradi and surrounding areas, are facing significant challenges in meeting the growing demand for clean water, despite their combined capacity of 10 million gallons per day. Illegal mining activities have increased water turbidity, reducing production from 6 million gallons per day at the Daboase plant to just above 16,000 gallons per day. The water supply is further threatened by encroachment on buffer zones protecting the water source, especially during the dry season. Gideon Annan is the Western Regional Production Manager at Ghana Water Company Limited.
Up there, you can see the level of encroachment on the buffer zone. Absolutely, the buffer zone is gone. And we know that means this river will start to dry up more than what we used to witness even in the dry season. And that for us, having a 100,000 meter cube plant, a day capacity going to sit down ideal, that would be most unfortunate. So there you can see the level of encroachment which is going on.
Western Regional Minister Joseph Nelson, during his familiarization visit to the Daboase treatment plant, directed Ghana Water Company Limited to demarcate buffer zones urgently. The move follows claims of ignorance by landowners. The minister also instructed local chiefs to halt any planned activities within the designated zones.
The chiefs who sold that portion of the land are claiming ignorance, that they didn't know that that is a buffer zone. Okay, so if we still have buffer zone, some portions still intact, I will urge that you put some posts there to tell the public, any other person who will want to, go there, that this is a no-go area, basically. I think you should do that. It will help.
Thank you.
And then beyond that, if they still overlook it and want to encroach, of course, the law will deal with them. But with this one, I think DC, I think you should take it up with the chiefs And now they know that what they have done there is illegal, because that is a buffer that is supposed to protect the river. Even though they've cleared it, they should not develop it.
The Ministry of Sanitation and Water Resources and GWCL launched a 70 million euros water expansion project in Sekondi Takoradi in May 2022, of which the Austrian firm Strabag was contracted to build a 22 million gallons per day Dabuasi water treatment plant. Strabag reports of 86% completion with an expected finish date of November 7, 2025.
All the main structures are finished. We are still working at the end. You see where is the crane, that is the high lift pumping station. There is the building accommodating the pumps to transfer the water to Inchaban. And from Inchaban there are other pumping stations towards Takoradi area. And in this area, most of the mechanical equipment is already in place. It's hard to see because everything is inside the tanks. Also, you cannot see anymore that all the tanks are quite deep in the ground. Now, as you see just what is the top of the iceberg you can see right now. But we are confident that we are in a good position to complete the plant.
Irama Smith, TV3 News, Dabuasi.
Now, the Chief Executive Officer of Cocoa Board, Dr. Randy Abe, says the organization is taking steps to ensure full compliance with European Union regulations on the permissible levels of chemical residues in cocoa beans. He raised concerns about the activities of illegal miners who use harmful chemicals such as cyanide and mercury. Dr. Abe spoke with Kemini Amano on hot issues.
There's the EUDR, which is the EU deforestation regime. And the deadline is actually 30th of December. But I can assure you, 2 days ago, people from the European Commission were at our office to meet us. I've met with the EU ambassador and another team. They are impressed with where we are so far. I mean, our system is up and running. We're running with some 8 of the LBCs. And we have a traceability system, you know, where you can actually trace every batch of cocoa to the actual farm where that cocoa was harvested. We have that system in place. And so we're more than ready to deliver on the EUDR, and we intend to use it when we start our 25-26 season. The deadline is 30th of December. We're sure that we'll meet that particular deadline. On the issue of the child labor, we have a system, and we are dealing with those issues. We're ensuring that the farmers are also educated. So we're ensuring that we do not have what you call hazardous thing where the kids are doing things that are dangerous, like dealing with agrochemicals or actually carrying loads that are more than 20% their weight size and all those things. Under the World Bank project, we're working with the Gender Ministry and all that on issues of child labor and the Ministry of Labor Relations as well. So I think that we are quite compliant on these issues, and we should be fine. Japan has a requirement, which is that we test for heavy metals, including lead. So we have a lab at Tema, the quality control lab, which also has to test for those that are going to Japan. So we are even ready, such that if Europe even decides to do that, but this testing only deals with ensuring that the beans that are exported do not contain these heavy metals or these contaminants and all that.
In other news this evening, the presiding bishop of Methodist Church Ghana is calling for a bipartisan action against illegal mining. Most Reverend Professor Johnson Kwabena Asamoah-Gyedu proposes a cross-party committee to tackle the menace following a 6-day visit to Takwa Diocese, where he witnessed a devastating impact.
Complained so much about Galamsey, a way will be found to deal with it. We can't talk about this menace without blaming our political leaders and politicians, because sometimes they give the impression that if you give us the mandate, we are going to help you to do it in a decent manner, but they are never able to come up with any solutions. So for especially the two political parties who have governed this country since 1992, the NPP and NDC, I think this is something that we have to approach in a bipartisan manner. Politicization of such things do not help any country. Now I'm looking for the day in which we'll have a cross-party committee that deals with it so that we remove the politics from it, because it's the future of our country, it's the future of our children. So amidst the joy and the exuberance of worship, I think this is one thing that I would say is a downside.
Some other stories tonight. Some argue that being a politician is challenging yet rewarding. It is a demanding job that requires dedication, hard work, and a strong commitment to serving the people. But is being a politician a full-time job? Evelyn Tingma finds out in this report.
In Ghana, being a politician is more than just a part-time job or a title. Most politicians, particularly members of parliament in Ghana, work full-time. Aside the plenary sittings in the chamber, members of parliament attend committee meetings in and outside of the house to scrutinize bills and policies of the executive. The legislators also meet with constituents at the constituency level in order to address their concerns and provide support, as well as attend community events. Given the demands and responsibilities of being an MP, it is clear that the role requires a full-time commitment. But should it be the case?
If you are voted into power, does that not make it a full-time job? You are not supposed to have any other job apart from what the president has given you. It makes it a full-time job. If you talk about people like us who do not have any political power, but we belong to political parties who are in opposition, then we need to decide whether it's a full-time job or not.
He said the political career is challenging and urged that once people become politicians, they should educate themselves in the profession.
I have encountered some politicians who were teachers, who did other careers, not professions, careers. They came into politics, left politics, and they can't even go back to their teaching. When the politician who is a lawyer leaves, where does he go? Goes back to his chambers. He gets cases. Doctors, they go back into the medical field. So it is important that once you become a politician or once you get into parliament, educate yourself in a profession.
Governance expert Professor Enoch Opoku Entry agrees. Being a politician is a full-time job that comes with both positive and negative impacts.
Yes, it's a full-time job. If you look at even our parliament, the way they sit, parliament sit like half of the year, 6 months, and the remaining 6 months you're supposed to go to your constituencies and then campaign and then help with development. That is also another full-time job.
He said some are engaged in businesses on the side, but it is still challenging.
The informal side of this job is people coming to your house every day. A typical minister or an assembly member or even an MP or a president, if you go to their house early in the morning by 3:30 a.m., 4 a.m., you see benches. People wanting to see you. Somebody need a job, somebody want to be a carpenter, need some tools, somebody want to be a seamstress, need some machines. Everybody have their problems and they all come to you. So some people have educational skills, they have knowledge, but their social skills are poor.
Indeed, life after active politics can be a sorry one for some former MPs.
When we were there was nothing like an education that would tell us how life was outside parliament. And so there was no conscious planning of exit. When I'm even giving exit at the end of the day, I even share it. I have no other business than to rely on the earnings from parliament. And it has been a disaster for many of us. It's just by the grace that today I'm sitting down here talking to you.
It is clear that being a politician is a full-time job, but it behoves on the politician to balance his or her duties and educate themselves in a profession in order to stay in a comfortable life after their political career wins. Evelyn Tingma, TV3 News, Accra.
And now let's bring you this touching story. He may be small in size, but when he sings, it will leave you in awe with the music lingering in your heart long after the music fades. Oshagabo tells the story of 6-year-old music sensation Papa Boafo William Mensah, who is proof that sometimes great music can come from a tiny voice.
My name is Papa and I am 6 years old. I am a student of Pastor School and I am going to grade 3. My hobbies are reading and singing. The name of my music teacher is Uncle Kent.
He is 6 years, has a beautiful voice and ready to use his God-given talent to impact the world.
I sing every day, so I don't even know the age I even started to sing.
Who inspires you to sing?
My mother and a friend on TikTok called Nana Abre. He plays the piano very well.
I love to sing. So with all my children, like every mother does, I sing with them right from bed. And with Papa, I realized that after singing a particular song for a while, the next time you are singing again, you see him trying to sing along with you. And I saw that very fascinating. So I'll just pick my phone and I'll take a video of him singing. So right from about 1.5, I realized that he was singing.
His mother recounts the most rewarding experience for her in Papa's musical journey.
My dad is the immediate past presiding bishop of the Methodist Church. And on the day of his validation, during the service, I told them that Papa can sing, let him sing for Grandpa. And he sang Your Grace and Mercies. And people were teary. I could see Grandpa, I saw the tears in his eyes, and that made me so happy that at least God, through him, has given the world such a beautiful gift.
When Papa is not singing, he's your regular 6-year-old. He loves to read. He solves math problems.
Because 9 + 6 is 15.
And loves being a good friend.
Papa is my friend. He likes to sing. Sometimes he sings in class. Every program he sings.
He's had a rare privilege of singing with some choirs, including the glorious Philharmonic Choir. If you could sing with anyone in the whole wide world, who would it be?
Maybe Malachi Bayo, maybe Lordina the soprano, maybe Harmonious Chorale. And I also love to sing with Uncle James Varick Ama. He will play the piano and I will sing.
Out there are some music schools that you can just put a child who has the gift right from the start. Unfortunately, we don't have that here. So my prayer is that you have the opportunity to be in such a school and have his gifts nurtured. I pray he becomes a blessing to the world at large.
Who knows, he could aim high and follow in the footsteps of legendary composers and singers like Ephraim Amu, Pavarotti, Andrea Bocelli, or perhaps he'll forge his own unique path as Papa, inspiring generations to come. Portia Gabo, TV3 News, Accra.
That's a pure talent there. Actually, what were you doing when you were 6 years old?
Probably playing in the sun in the Zungus of Nima, really. I wasn't doing much.
Right.
But yeah, kudos to the little William. All the best.
Exactly. You're watching News 360. We're back with more stories after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to the program. A 60-bed capacity Salaga Hospital in the East Gonja municipality of the Savannah region, which was started some 15 years ago, and the late President John Evans Atamils is yet to be completed. My colleague Christopher Marco visited the project site and comes through with this report.
The initial plan of the new Salaga Hospital project was a 120-bed facility, but that was later reduced to 60-bed capacity in 2009 when the project commenced. Once completed, the project is expected to ease pressure on the Salaga Government Hospital. It will also serve as a major referral center for parts of the Northeast Gonja District, Nanumba North and South Districts, the Kwandai District, and even some areas in the OT region. The $339 million Salaga Hospital project is one of 8 Eurojet the Invest hospital projects across the country. The project suffered legal battle between the main contractor and a subcontractor, delaying the start of the project for 2 years. But 13 years after the legal battle ended, the project is yet to be completed. Since 2021, construction has come to a halt with no contractor on site, despite several appeals by the paramount chief of the Kwembi traditional area, Kwembiura Bambange Ndofoso IV, to the previous government to get the project completed. In the build-up to the 2024 general elections, the project became a key campaign issue for both the then governing New Patriotic Party and the main opposition National Democratic Congress, with both parties promising to complete the project if elected. A visit to the project site revealed that the unfinished 60-bed capacity hospital has been overtaken by weeds. Construction equipment left on site has been destroyed by bushfires. Some portions of the facility have had their roofs ripped off. For residents, the continued delay in completing the hospital is having a direct impact on healthcare delivery.
At the current hospital that we are currently occupying, there's a lot of pressure on that hospital. A lot of people come from the neighboring community to seek help in Salaga municipality. And the current hospital that doesn't serve the interest of the people of Salaga. Why am I saying that? There are a lot of tests, scanning, laboratory tests that we need to do in Salaga that you can't get it in the current hospital. You have to go to Tamale, sometimes you have to go to Yeji. A lot of areas that you need to go before you can able to access those kind of tests. So
actually, it's very devastating, very worrying, very disturbing. As citizens of the municipality, this facility was supposed to be completed by now and to serve the good people of East municipality very well. Here is the case. It has been left down uncompleted for 16 to 17 years now, giving the pressure to the whole hospital here.
Medical Superintendent of the Salaga Government Hospital, Dr. Luri Prosper, is equally concerned about the delay in completing the new 60-bed capacity hospital.
We have a huge workload. Sometimes patients are necessarily waiting to be attended to because people coming from Kwandai district, Bimbla, Northeast Gonja. So it puts a huge load on us, and patients sometimes have to wait for long hours to see a prescriber. And that is really not the best.
For the paramount chief of the Kwembi traditional area, Kwembiura Bambange Ndofoso IV, the delay is frustrating the efforts of health workers to deliver quality care.
70 or 80% of the hospital is done. So what is left is not anything that is used. So the government should look at it once again and see how it will complete, so that the people will benefit from it. Most of all the facility around the East Gonja, when I say the East Gonja, that's the Eastern Corridor, Kwandai, other places, all use that place as a referral, the Salaga Hospital. And the facility, take a look at the facility, to deteriorating. So I think when they look at the hospital, it's going to boost the area on health delivery.
Healthcare in Ghana continues to face significant challenges, including disparities in access, especially in rural areas, shortage of healthcare professionals, and infrastructure. Healthcare environment plays a critical role in the quality of healthcare services delivered at every health facility. This includes the retention of staff for the operation of these health facilities. Christopher Marco, TV3 News, Salaga.
We're still staying on health-related issues, and hypertension remains a significant public health issue in Ghana, affecting over a quarter of the adult population. In order to raise awareness and promote hypertension prevention, detection and control, men are urged to take their hypertensive health issues seriously and adhere to their medication regimens.
Hypertension or high blood pressure is a condition in which the blood vessels have persistently raised pressure. This means the heart has to work harder to pump blood through the body, which can damage blood vessels and lead to serious health problems. Hypertension is often called the silent killer, and if left uncontrolled, it can lead to heart attacks, strokes, kidney failure, vision loss, among other complications. Approximately 27% of adults in Ghana are reported to have hypertension, with similar rates in rural and urban areas. Only about 35% of individuals are aware of their condition, and merely 6% have their blood pressure under control. The prevalence of the disease is said to be higher in coastal communities. Common risk factors include obesity, physical inactivity, unhealthy diets, and aging.
Food contributes to getting high blood pressure, hypertension. The portion that you are taking in terms of its size is overdose, and then the content is not also well defined. As I said, you are eating a lot of fatty foods, and then you take a lot of salt.
Experts are raising concerns as some men discontinue treatment, citing side effects, particularly impacts on sexual performance. Head of cardiology at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, Dr. Alfred Duku, encouraged men to consult for suitable treatment options.
So BP was thrown out on your wife for that.
When your BP is high and you're having sex, you can die in the process. So if you think the medication is affecting you, consult your doctor for the appropriate one so it doesn't affect you.
And or performance.
As part of efforts to tackle the growing threat, the Greater Accra Regional Health Directorate held a public awareness event at the Mamprobi Polyclinic, encouraging healthier lifestyles to prevent complications.
It is good to know your status when it comes to hypertension. And what is even more encouraging is that the Ghana Health Service has in every facility a wellness clinic that can check your blood pressure free of charge, whether you are insured or you are non-insured. Because hypertension and its related complications are the major killer in this country.
Experts are sounding the alarm on the urgent need for greater awareness and early detection for hypertension, which they warn poses a major public health challenge.
Fourth segment is brought to you by Sasso Insecticide Spray and Coil.
Let's cross over to Billiton for some sports news. Bill, the European season has ended.
Yeah.
Chelsea has made it to the Champions League. That's good news for me.
For you, not for me.
Sorry about that.
Oh, but I'll just take it. I mean, the Ghana Premier League is also nearing its end.
Right.
And there was a big match that happened. Very disappointing 0-0 draw too.
Bring us the details.
All right, let's begin from the Ghana Premier League, where the race for the competition has reached a boiling point. Asante Kotoko were held to a goalless draw in Bibiani against Gold Stars, while Nations FC beat Samatex by 3-0. With 2 games to end the season, my colleague Mutala Yakubu looks at where the league title could potentially end up.
The race for the Ghana Premier League is heating up, as well as the relegation battle. First of all, let's talk about who wins the Ghana Premier League, because as it stands, Nations FC are on top with 60 points after winning today against Samatex. So the Bibiani Gold Stars, who are looking at closing the gap Nations, their game ended goalless against Asante Kotoko, meaning that they are 3 points shy of the top with 2 games to end the season. Now, Asante Kotoko looks to be out of the title race together with Heart of Lions, but Karim Zito believes that Kotoko can still win the last 2 games and hope that something will happen with the 2 games that Nations and the Guinea Gold Stars will play, so that Kotoko will go on to win the title. But as it stands, it looks like Nations are firmly in control. For the relegation battle, we already know that in Swatchaman and Legon Cities have been relegated, but that third team that will join these 2 teams is what we don't know yet. Today, Young Apostles did themselves a huge favor by beating Heart of Lions to move out of the relegation zone. And unfortunately, Vision FC also beating Karela, meaning that Karela are back into the relegation zone. With 2 games to go, we do not know which team will join Legon Cities and of course the Swatchaman to relegation. Mutalai Yakubu for Free Sports, live in Bebieni.
That was a report there by Muta Yakubu. Now, Bournemouth secured 9th place in the Premier League, matching their previous best campaign as Antoine Semenyo grabbed a double for a 2-0 home win over already relegated Leicester City on Sunday. And Mohamed Kudus wrapped up the points for the Hammers later on as they finished 14th in the Premier League table.
Short to Tavernier, back to Clivert, a little dinked one in towards Zabanyu's up there, and Semenyo is there, and Antoine Semenyo.
Thunderous. That's it for the sports segment here on News 360. My name is Billy Shen. Entertainment is up next.
Entertainment news segment is brought to you by GTP Lifestyle, powered by 3 Entertainment.
In entertainment news this evening, 9-year-old versatile dancer Ayisha has been crowned the winner of season 16 of the award-winning kids reality show talented kids. For her outstanding performance and emerging at the top, the dynamic young star walked away with a cash prize of 20,000 cedis, an all-expenses paid educational trip, and a host of exciting rewards. Keyboardist Ishuraba was named first runner-up, taking home a check for 15,000 cedis, along with products from the show's sponsors.
And now we know our winner is Ice Girl. Week out, you came, you showed, and now you won. Ice Girl is going to the Netherlands and UK.
I'm come audition 3 times, and then I'm coming, get me standby, and I'm said this one day I will come to win. I'm feeling motivated and empowered.
Nice.
I want to tell them that if you do, come to TV3 Talented Kids, your talent will showcase, and everybody watching me, please.
Okay.
I mean, I feel blessed because, I mean, my name speaks for itself, Champion Rolly, and it's always a win, you know. And when I got the call up to come and do the final rehearsal and everything with her, I was in China. So I was like, I was thinking about it. I was like, should I actually go for this? Because as soon as I land, I don't even know if we would have much time for us to like rehearse together and do everything. And I was told that she looks up to me, like she watches my video a lot and everything. So she will really be happy if I'm able to grant this request. So I was like, okay, let's do it. So yeah, I took her through some rehearsal sessions, and it wasn't easy. Because, you know, like the moves are kind of a little bit complicated, but I mean, she's very, what I saw about her is she's always willing to learn, and it doesn't matter what kind of moves I was teaching her. She was willing to learn. If I ask her, are you tired? She said, no, she's not tired. She wants to continue. Like, wow, she's very determined. So I could see a winner in her. So I'm actually not too surprised that she won.
Well, congratulations to all the winners. Let's now bring you some international news.
Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky has alleged that the U.S. is silent after recent Russian attack is encouraging President Vladimir Putin following Moscow's largest aerial attack yet. The overnight attack saw Russia launch the highest number of drones and missiles in a single night since the war began. At least 12 people, including 3 children, were killed and dozens more injured in widespread strikes across Ukraine. The attack came a day after one of the heaviest assaults on the capital, Kiev, since the start of the war. Zelensky warned that Russia's brutality cannot be stopped without strong pressure on the Russian leadership. French President Emmanuel Macron is hoping to strike defense, energy and tech innovation deal as he arrived in Vietnam for the start of a roughly week-long trip in Asia. Macron arrived in Hanoi on Sunday, marking the first trip to Vietnam by a French president in nearly a decade. After Vietnam, Macron will then go to Indonesia and finish up in Singapore, where he will speak at the annual Shangri-La Dialogue, Asia's top defense conference. Macron's visit comes as France and the European Union aim to strengthen their commercial ties in Asia to offset uncertainty over U.S. President Donald Trump's tariff measures.
That's all from us this evening. Thank you so much for spending the last 1 hour with us. I am Ayisha Yakubu.
And I am Noble Crosby. And there's always more news on our website, 3news.com. Please log on for more. Enjoy the rest of our programs. Good night.